I'm gonna start with introduction. The first one is the definition of inflation. Inflation is the increase in prices over time resulting in a decrease in purchasing power. The average price increase of a selected basket of goods and services over a given time period can be used to determine the rate at which buying power declines. The increase in cost, which is sometimes stated as a percentage, implies that a certain amount of money may now buy less than it did in previous time. Deflation is the opposite of inflation and happens when prices fall and buying power rises. So, how about inflation in Malaysia? In Malaysia, the inflation was increased to 2.8% in May 2023. This kind of situation has the potential to all Malaysians because the item available to purchase with every ringgit will be less than there were before the rise in inflation. Inflation will decrease the purchasing power of consumer.
Problem identification. Malaysia inflation increased to 2.8% at 130.2 points in May 2023 from 126.6 points in the same month the previous years, a rise in the country's total consumer price level. Furthermore, DOSM state that the growth in health and education, furnishing, home equipment and regular household maintenance, miscellaneous product and service is also the cause of Malaysia's May 2023 inflation increase. Next, DOSM state that rising rate of inflation was drastically increased by restaurant and hotel, while DOSM say the slower increase in subgroup such as food and alcoholic beverage, transport, furnishing, household equipment, and routine household maintenance. According to DOSM, 9 states saw rises in inflation that were less than the 2.8 national average in May 2023, with Wilayah Persekutuan Labuan having the lowest increase of 1.2%.
Solution. The first one is improve monetary policy effectiveness, such as the central bank can try to guarantee that the inflation it controls is effectively managed through its monetary policies. This entails employing inflation targeting frameworks, putting forward-thinking policies into action, and keeping a credible and independent central bank. The next one is encouraging structural changes. This way can make long-term structural changes that improve the business environment, encourage greater competition, and increase labor market flexibility can contribute to higher economic growth and lower inflationary pressures. Other than that, what Malaysia can do to overcome inflation is by lowering import prices and inflation expectations. A stable currency can aid in the management of inflation. The Malaysian ringgit can be stabilized by the government by adopting reasonable exchange rate policy and keeping appropriate foreign exchange reserve.
The solution for inflation in Malaysia is fiscal policy, where the amount that government spend can be changed. Reducing government spending too much can assist lower demand in the economy and lessen the impact on inflation. Next is public communication, where clear communication from Bank Negara Malaysia and the government about their commitment to controlling inflation and the measures being taken can influence expectation and behavior in the market. And lastly, monitoring and research, where continuous monitoring of economic indicators and conducting in-depth research on the root cause of inflation can provide insight for effective policy making.
The government should take any solution to curb inflation because inflation can make the cost of living increase. Increasing the cost of living will create a huge gap between the fixed and lower income and the higher income. The lower income may struggle to face their daily expenses than the higher income. Other than that, it costs to reduce purchasing power because people tend to save their money than purchasing goods. Less purchasing power can create unemployment because the lower of demand from the consumers to the business will obtain a small amount of revenue. This can make the business, especially small business, hardly covering expenses and buying inventory. So, they have to lay off workers to reduce expenses. Inflation also can make slow economic growth.